All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Requisitions and Orders V.I.L.T. Um, if you do not see your first and last name in the participant window or in your little window where your name is, please go ahead and make that change. If you're not sure how to do that, go ahead and click on the chat and you can put your name in the chat and we'll be happy to get that changed for you. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get started to make the most of our time together today. This is the second part of your training. The first part was the self-paced training with the Virginia Institute of Procurement's Learning Management System. We're going to begin with a live demo of the topic, and then we'll have a Q&A session, and then we'll conclude with a recap of resources that we think will be helpful for you as you continue to use EVA. So as we're getting started, let's just go over some session reminders. You're more than welcome to have your camera on during our session today. This will help our trainer to know if you understand the demo while they're presenting. You can also use the chat feature to make comments throughout the way as well. And you can also put your questions there in the chat so that we can answer them after the demo is completed. We look forward to taking your questions. We know that we cannot answer any questions that deal with the business processes of your organization. So if it's something that's not functionality related, we may not be able to answer that question because it may be specific to your organization. If you're not sure if your question falls into that category, please ask anyway, and we'll let you know if the question is specific to your organization. After today's session, your attendance will be recorded and you will then receive a survey. That survey will be sent to the LMS. It will not be sent to your email. It will be sent to the LMS where you completed your pre-work. So you'll go to the dashboard under My Courses and you will see that. It will probably be within the first half an hour or so after the session ends today that you'll see that. If you have any questions about your attendance, you can email me at any time, and my email address will be on the next slide for you to copy down for your records. All right, so let's take a look. We have, there are two of us in here today helping to make sure that you get all the information that you need. My name is Jennifer Boyles. I'm the EVA training coordinator, and there is my email address at the bottom of the slide for you to copy down in case you have any questions or need any help later on. And I'm going to turn it over to our trainer, Miranda, to talk to you about herself.
All right, thank you so much, Jennifer. For those of you who may not know, my name is Miranda Bolin. I am EVA's P2P and e-invoicing manager. A little bit about myself. I've been with EVA for about almost 8 years now, so I've seen a lot. I've been a part of the legacy platform as well as the new existing platform. So super happy to have you all here with us this morning, and hopefully you'll be able to get some great information and take it back to your team. And today we'll be covering the requisitions and orders process. Again, if you was a part of the receiving V.I.L.T that took place a couple of days ago, hopefully this part of it will make more sense and you'll be able to kind of mesh the two together. But we're super happy to have you all here with us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. All right, so we are going to go ahead and find out a little bit about you. So I'm going to put a poll up here and find out about you all because we have lots of people in here. So our question to you is, how long have you been an EVA user? Go ahead and select one of the following: brand new EVA user, 1 to 5 years, 6 to 14, or 15 plus years. All right, looks like 100% participation. Love it. All right, so we have 76% of you that are brand new EVA users. So welcome. We're glad that you are here. We also have some people that have been using it for 1 to 5 years and 6 to 14 years. Nobody in the 15 plus range. So that's interesting. So we're glad that you're all here, and we look forward to sharing information with you that hopefully helps you use EVA more effectively every day in your job. So let's take a look at our session agenda for today. So we're going to start with that live demo with Miranda. She's going to walk you through both requisitions and orders. Then we'll go ahead and do a Q&A session for clarification, and then we'll wrap up with those resources that will help you to use EVA better on an everyday basis. We are going to cover the following topics. We're going to create catalog requisitions. We're going to add catalog items to requisitions. We're going to add comments and attachments to those requisitions. We'll then submit those requisitions. Then we will view order details. Then we'll create change orders. And then finally, we'll show you how to cancel orders as well if that is necessary. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and allow Miranda to take over so that she can start the demo with you.
All right, thank you so much, Jennifer. Let me
You
go
are
ahead
welcome.
and share my screen. Okay. And just want to make sure, Jennifer, are you able to see my
I
screen?
sure am.
Okay,
You're good.
perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, again, good morning, everyone, and want to welcome to the Requisitions and Orders V.I.L.T. So today I'll be showing you all how to create a catalog order or formal request. A few things I would like to point out from the beginning before we get started and dive in. So this is more so of showing you guys the functionality, how it works. Now, of course, again, if you have any type of business process questions or want to get clarification, that's going to be something that's done internally. So unfortunately, I cannot answer any business process questions, but I'll absolutely show you how you can take that information and incorporate it into what you're trying to do and using the EVA tool. All right, so I have logged into EVA. And so what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to create a catalog requisition. So the way to do that is we're going to come on up and hit search products. All right, so as you can see now, I am within that area where I can shop for catalog items. And so I just want to kind of give you some clarification on what a catalog item is and what that all entails. So with a catalog item, there are items that are provided by the supplier that are built into EVA. Okay, so they can include contract as well as non-contract items. All right, so this information is obtained from the supplier, put into the system, and as you can see, it's already attached to the supplier that provided that information. So they have provided the product code, the commodity code that is associated with this particular item. And also, as you can see, you have that good data, that detailed information. Pricing is already here, unit. And if there is a contract that is associated with this particular catalog item, you'd be able to see that information along with that validity start date. And of course, if there was anything as far as the end date, you'll be able to see that information here. And also, if that supplier is indeed or hold any type of SWAM certification, that information would appear in this section here. All right. So I'm going to take you all over to, I would like to call this our advanced search. So if you have a particular commodity code that you'd like to use that's going to describe the goods or services that you're looking to obtain, you can utilize this commodity section here. All right. So if at this moment, if you have that commodity code, you can go ahead and plug that in. Well, let's say if there's a particular contract that you're looking to use and that you know of, you can, do a search here, right? Of course, if you want to look by supplier, you can absolutely do so here. So if you know if that supplier's company name, you can, or if you just want to do a general search, you're more than welcome to do so. And then if you look at the status, all right, so if you want to look at purchasable items only, you would just simply click on that little checkbox here. And what that will do is filter in all of those catalog items. All right. SWAM category, as you can see, the different SWAM categories are listed here, or certifications rather. All right, and then type. So if you know that you're searching for a service, you can do so. If you're looking for product, you would just make that selection. So for demonstration purposes, I already have a particular commodity code in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my items commodity, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that commodity code to see if that brings in the item that I'm looking for. Okay, so if I hit search, what that's going to do is pull in that particular or commodities in with the lines that are associated. And so one thing to point out here, the way to be able to identify a catalog item, it has that distinctive look, as you can see where it says add to cart. So whenever you see this particular line or item listed under search products, this is how you would be able to identify it as a catalog item, okay? One thing I just want to point out that I did not at the beginning, but of course, if you know of a supplier already offhand and you want to do a search products here, you can utilize this field as well. All right, so I have that commodity code and I see the items that I would like to add to my cart. So I have MedVet and International. I see the label. I see the detailed description and the pricing. So that is very important to me. So I'm going to go ahead and at this point, I can adjust the quantity here. So I'm going to go ahead and just add that. So I want 4 of these particular items. Okay. And then I have my other item that I'm going to add, and I can make that adjustment here. All right. So now that I have those items listed, let me just collapse that, have my items listed. As you can see, I have a requisition that's going to be created for me. So that's one of the cool things about, shopping with catalog items. The system is going to create a draft shell for you. All right. So you won't have to do how you would normally do with a non-catalog where you'll have to start out all of that, plug in all of this information here. With catalog, the information is already provided. So what you see here is what's going to go exactly into this particular requisition. So that's why we stress how important it is to make sure that you're shopping and making sure that if what you're looking for, it may already be here, and it eliminates you having to gather all of this information and key it onto the requisition that you're trying to create. Okay. So now that I have my items in my cart, what I'm going to do now to make it easy on myself is I'm going to go ahead and click on this pencil to name my requisition. And this is very important. So if you've taken the time to shop for these items and add it to your cart, what you want the system to do is hold on to the information. So go ahead and name your requisition right offhand so you won't have to go into searching and trying to locate this requisition that's in edit, okay? Or in draft. So I'm going to say, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click on this little check mark here. And what that's going to do is associated with the requisition that's about to be created for me. So I'm going to hit checkout. Okay, seamless. As stated, when you're shopping for catalog items, everything that you searched and you added into your catalog, your cart, it's going to pull all on over onto this draft requisition. Okay. So the information that you saw as far as label, part number, item description, that's all in here. So I don't have to worry about any of that. All right. That's pulled in for me. And as you can see, the system has calculated the total. All right. So Coming on up to my purchase requisition, there are a few things that I want to make sure that I pay attention to, and that is required fields. Of course, I've already named my requisition, so I don't have to worry about that. PO category. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my category. Now I've selected routine. However, if it's going to be something different, that is some information that you want to have beforehand, okay? That is business process. So if you don't know what the PO category is going to be outside of routine, that is something that you'll want to obtain internally, okay? Requester. So because I am creating this requisition, it's already pulled in my name. However, if you're going to be submitting a formal request on the behalf of someone, you can actually search for that individual's name from the drop down, okay? And make sure that you select that name. So procurement transaction type. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my selection. So I'm going to select non-professional services, non-technology. And again, if your procurement transaction type is going to be different, you'll need to have that beforehand and know exactly what you'll need to set it to. Okay. All right. So coming down to my items, again, I have all the information I need concerning these items because that information was built into EVA. But what we're going to do at this point, even though this information has traveled on over, we always want to pay attention to this field here, okay? This is going to be our designated field for our alerts. All right, so it's this alert section is going to point out any blocking error messages. And as we all know with blocking errors, that is going to be something that needs to be addressed before you're actually able to submit your request for approval. So it doesn't appear that I have any type of alerts for these particular lines, but it is letting me know that, are you aware that these are, let's see, take a look here. We're going to hover over. So it's saying no valid login for supplier contact. And the way for me to be able to address that, or even if you have a blocking error, you'll just simply click on the pencil. We're going to collapse this. Click on the pencil. Okay, so it's opened up that line that traveled over from the catalog section. Going to point out a few things before I get to the valid login supplier contact. But as you can see, it's identifying that this is a product item. Okay, it is a catalog item. And if you notice that these areas are grayed out because again, this information is built in, so you will not be able to make any type of changes. Okay. I have my item description that's already built in. Detailed description, if there are any information here that will already appear here. But we do have a few fields that we can adjust, okay? So of course, you can always up your quantity or decrease it if you need to. And then as you can see, that unit of measure is listed. And then we have the unit price, but again, based on the quantity that I've keyed in, it's going to calculate my unit price. Okay. Commodity code. Remember, I did a search by commodity code. So because I did a search by the commodity, that's already built into this catalog item. Delivery date, I already have set. But if for any reason you need to adjust that, that is a field that is editable. Okay. I have my deliver to because that's associated with my profile. So I don't, have to do anything there. But if you need to, for any reason, if you need to adjust it, it's going to go to someone else, you can make that adjustment. Suggested supplier. So because this information was obtained by the supplier, it's already built in. So for this line item, you will not be able to adjust the supplier. So very different from a non-catalog. This information is built in, so you will not be able to edit. However, if for any reason you need to take a peek at the supplier's account, you can by simply clicking on this little link here. And what that's going to do is give you a snapshot of that supplier's profile. All right. So just a quick overview. As you can see, I can see this particular supplier's account. Now, this is important if you would like to, if you decided you want to pay this supplier with a P card. Now, if you should, we can't answer that question. Again, that's going to be something that you'll need to take back to your department. But if you want to verify beforehand, before adding your P card, you can actually confirm that information by taking a look at the supplier's account. And the way to do that is by clicking on where it says company information. As you can see, you'll see their tax address, all that good information that's linked to the supplier. And then if you come on down and take a quick look, let's see if we can locate it. Let's see, does the supplier take it? Okay, my apologies. Yep. So accepts charge card. So if you're thinking about paying this particular supplier with a charge card, you can verify that beforehand. And just to make sure that everything is on the up and up. All right. And so for the supplier contact field to address that non-blocking error, so I want to point out this error message here is just pretty much letting you know, hey, there's no valid login for the supplier, but that does not prevent you from being able to submit your purchase request. Okay. So I'm just going to check to see if they have a supplier contact. All right. So I've added that supplier contact. All right. And so let's say for your alert, you received allocations that you needed to do something with the allocations, meaning putting the fiscal year. The way to get to your allocations from the line is you'll just need to scroll down. And as you can see, your allocations are listed here. All right. So if you have 3 lines of allocations that you need to add, just simply click on this little plus sign here. And there you'll be able to add in all of your allocations, right? Coming on down, attachments. So if I have any type of attachments that I need to include or documents I need to include with this particular line, I can do so. And I would just simply click on the document. All right, so you have 2 options here. If you want to add, attachments for your department, you can just simply click on internal attachments. And of course, the supplier will not be able to see those attachments that you've included. But let's just say if you have any additional documents that you'd like to include concerning this particular item and you want to relay that to the supplier, just simply click on supplier documents, put whatever you want for that title. If you have a quick summary that you like to include for the supplier to be able to see, you can add that in, and then you would just simply search for that document or attachment. All right, so I'm going to close that up. So now that everything's been addressed, I have my fiscal year already keyed in. All right, I'm going to come back on up, hit save and close. All right. It appears that I'm all good to go here. I have my allocations again that are listed. That's very important. Again, this is the face of the purchase requisition. So if you have any type of documents that you want to include concerning just the overall purchase request, you can definitely do so by clicking on New Document. Again, you'll have 2 options. So if you need to add any type of attachments and relay that to your internal department or your approvers that are going to be coming up within your workflow, you can add your documents here. If you need to add any type of supplier document for the overall purchase request, you can select supplier document. All right. So at this point, it appears that I have everything built in. Now, at this point, if I wanted to include a purchase card that I'm going to be paying the supplier with, if you have one available, you can just simply select your P card, okay? Hit save on that. So it'll hold on to your request. And now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to submit for approval. right. So this is what it looks like from an approver's view. So don't be alarmed. I may have 15 approvals that I'll need to get through, but just want to give you a quick glimpse. And it's good for, just to kind of show you guys what it looks like. So once I submit my request for approval, this is what I can see as an approver. Okay, so I can see all of your header information, those line items that you've attached. Okay. All right. See your allocations. If you had any type of attachments, I can see that information here. And if you added any type of comments, I could see that information within this field here. Okay. So going to bring you guys on over to the workflow. Because I submitted my request for approval, it launched the workflow. So now it's going to give me some information about where this purchase requisition is headed and which bucket it's in and what approvals it's waiting for. So at this point, it's waiting for EVA approvals. So if you submitted a purchase request and it's been a few days and you don't see that it's progressing, you can actually take a look to see what approvals are up next and who it's waiting on. So if I click on approval history, I can see that, all right, Miranda created that requisition. I submitted it for approval. It started, it generated rules, and now it's telling me that I'm waiting on my EVA approvals. So as you can see, any of these three individuals can approve this purchase requisition. So again, if you've submitted your requisition, it's been sitting, it's not moving along, you can reach out to any of these individuals to get them to approve, okay? And so for a quick glimpse, if you want to kind of get a snapshot of that upcoming approvals and ad hoc, just simply click on upcoming approvals and ad hoc here, and it's going to give you that look ahead. Okay, so your workflow preview. All right, so all this great information here. So you're always going to be kept in a loop about what's going to be coming up next as far as approvals. Now, if you need to ad hoc anyone for whatever reason to the approval flow, all right, you can just simply click on ad hoc approver and insert that approver. Okay, so I'm going to add Sandra Stanley to my approval flow. All right, because I need to have her a part of this process. And then you can determine or, when she needs to come into the approval flow. So if it's beforehand, you can select before or after. All right. So I'm going to just simply click on before. And if there are any type of predefined rules that this approver needs to have, you can make your selection here. All right. And let's just say there aren't going to be any type of predefined rules. And again, this is something that you'll want to verify within your department. Okay. So if there's no predefined rules that this approver needs to have, simply click on this little toolbar here. And what that's going to do is remove that section. And then it's going to say ad hoc into rule. Okay. So I would just simply add this in. And you can just put in the reason why you're adding this approver in. I'm just going to put test. And we're going to, at this point, I could just either save and close, but I'm going to hit close because I'm not going to add an approver today. All right. So great information here. You can see exactly what's going on with this purchase request. So once I submit my request and launch the workflow, I can see everything that's going on, who's going to be notified, who's up next to approve. So you'll always have a trail. And another thing, if I were to come here and hit approve on it, or if I wanted to add a note, the next approver would be able to see it within the history. Okay, so that's one other thing, just want to make you guys aware of. So if you submitted your request and it got rejected, you'll actually be able to see when an approver rejects it because a lot of times they'll add a note. So always come to your approval history and you'll be able to see what's going on and what they need you guys to adjust if it were rejected for whatever reason. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move this purchase request along. All right. So I've submitted my purchase request. It is now in ordered status. And as you can see, my PCO has popped right up. Okay. So because I now have my purchase order, it's always going to be tied to your purchase request. Okay. So if you needed to refer back to your purchase requisition for whatever reason, you can just simply click on this link here. And what that's going to do is bring you back to where you were initially were with your purchase request. And you'll be able to see, exactly what you had a part of your purchase request. All right. But if you notice, it's always going to be tied to your order. So I'm going to close this out. All right. So now I have my catalog requisition. All right, so next up, I'm going to show you all how to cancel an order. All right, so I'm just going to bring you back to the Browse Requisitions page, excuse me, Browse Orders page, because I want to show you all what it looks like from the Browse Orders page. So now that I have my purchase order that is fully established and in the system, this is exactly what it looks like from the purchase order page. Okay, so I have my PCO. PCO simply stands for Purchase Cart Order. All right. Suppliers already here. I have the version of the purchase order. So let's say if I needed to make a change to my purchase order and add a line, what happens is the versions will go up. So then you would be at a version 2 at that point. All right. So purchase request here, my purchase, the name, the title, ordered amount, and if I had anything received, you would be able to see that received information here. Most importantly, the status of your purchase order, and then the ordered date. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go into my purchase order, and let's just say that this particular purchase order is no longer needed or required. The way to cancel the PO is by clicking on Cancel PO here. Now, one thing to point out and that you want to make a mental note of, if you have any type of receiving, so let's just say it's to the point now where this purchase order has been established for a while and you've already received shipment on the items that you purchased, you'll need to make sure that you return everything. So if you received shipment, you've created receipts, you have 10, 12, you need to wipe all of that out, okay, before you hit cancel PO, because otherwise, if you hit cancel PO, it's not going to submit your request and it will not go into cancellation status, okay? So it's very important if you've received shipment and you started creating receipts against the shipment, you'll need to back out of everything in order to cancel your PO. And so for those of you who joined in on the receivings V.I.L.T, this all makes sense now. So as I showed you guys how to back out of receipts, you'll need to back out of everything before you can cancel your PO. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel it. All right, select the name. And as you can see, this is going to be sent to the supplier to make them aware that we're canceling this PO. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let me just click on this. All right. Just to kind of get it moving. But once you've selected the send to, hit send and close. Okay. And then what that's going to do is that particular request or notification is going to be sent to the supplier. And then at this point, because I don't have any type of receiving, I'm in the clear to cancel this purchase order. All right. So really quickly, I'm going to show you all how to go back. So if you created a requisition and you have catalog items, I'm going to show you all how you can flip-flop easily back to the catalog if you needed to once you have a purchase requisition established. So I'm going to click on shop. All right. And I'm just going to add a random line. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and name my requisition. Let's see here. Okay. So I'm here. I have my item added in my cart. All right. I'm going to go ahead and hit checkout. Again, I have all of my fields that I need to address on my header. Okay. And as you can see, I have my line item here, but let's just say that I need to add something additionally to this particular purchase request. So the way to get back to the catalog is you can just simply click on back to catalog. Okay. So what that's going to do is put you right back where you started. And as you can see at this point, I can add, that additional item, hit checkout, and it's going to land me right back onto my purchase requisition. Okay. And so if you just simply need to cancel one of the items on your purchase requisition before submitting, just hit this little delete item here, and it's asking you, do you really want to delete this row? I'm going to click on yes. Okay. And then at this point, if all is well, let's say I needed to add a quick attachment. Oop, let me address this first. Okay, PO category, have that. All right, I'm gonna add me a quick document here. Okay, download. All right, I'm just gonna add me a quick attachment. Save and close. Right. And again, at this point, you can go ahead and add your P card in if you've already verified that the supplier does accept charge card and submit for approval. So just wanted to show you guys how easy it is to, if you're in the process of submitting a catalog requisition and you need to add items, super simple on how to get back to the catalog. Okay. So next up, I'm going to show you guys how to create a non-catalog. Now, this is the last, I would say it's available to you guys, but what we want to lead with first is make sure of, whatever it is that you need to submit a request for, always check to see if there's a catalog item, right? Or if there's a contract. If you're looking to shop from a contract, always check with these places or items first, okay? To make sure that whatever it is that you need, it may already be there. Okay. So as last resort, if you find that there are no type of catalog items in place or contract or anything like that, you're always going to have your non-catalog requisitions. Okay. So this is a little bit different. You're literally having to key in everything. Okay. I'm just going to put that in. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So I'm going to put in my PO category, PO transaction type. Okay. At this point, in order for me to get a draft requisition number assigned, I'm going to have to click on save. Okay. I have a blocking alert. It's letting me know that I need to add at least one line to my requisition. And this is what I was talking about. When you're shopping for catalog items or if you're shopping from a contract, all that information, that data concerning the supplier, name, product code, description, all of that information is going to be built in. Okay, that's already been provided. Versus non-catalog, you're going to have to key in everything. So you need to make sure that you have all that information beforehand when creating a non-catalog requisition. Okay, so at this point, because it's telling me you need to add at least one line, I'm going to now have to add lines. So if I click on this little plus sign here, I have to have my information. So I'm just going to say, and you want to make sure that you're as descriptive as possible. Because if you leave out any detailed information and you submit this non-catalog requisition to the supplier, they may give you the wrong item. So again, it's very important that you have this information beforehand, and it's imperative that you take advantage of what's available to you, before resorting to a non-catalog. Now, we do understand in certain situations where there isn't a catalog item that's in place, or you may not be able to find anything to shop as far as a contract. You have this available to you, but we want to lead with catalog. Take advantage of that and do your research beforehand and before, as last resort, is creating a non-catalog order. Okay. So I'm going to have to key in the order quantity. I need to know exactly what the unit of measure is going to be. I need to put in the pricing. Okay. I need to have the commodity. So if you don't have these pieces of information, you may need to reach out to the supplier to obtain this information. Okay, so I'm going to put in the commodity code. If you have the delivery date, just going to put that in. Who are you going to deliver it to? So I'm just going to say, mm, right? Supplier. Who's the supplier? So we're going to put in supplier. All right. If you have an external contract number that you like to reference, you can put it in the field here. So we do have that designated field here. If you have any type of internal comments that you like to add, I'm just going to put anything there. Again, you can add attachments, but at this point, in order to unlock the next section within your item, you'll need to hit save. Okay. So at this point, you're going to have to make sure that your allocations are up to par. So do you have any type of cost codes that you need to key in? All those good things. So, you know, want to get that addressed. Do you have any type of attachment? So at this point, you'll hit save and close. All right. So all the information that you keyed in is going to appear in your items and services. But again, the information that is keyed in needs to be as accurate as possible because when you submit this request to the supplier, they're ultimately going to fulfill that order. And if you haven't put in enough information and you're not being specific, guess what happens? You may potentially receive the wrong item. So again, as you can see, shopping for catalog items, all that good data is already built into EVA. Okay. So that's why we want to make sure that we're leading with shopping with your catalog items, taking a look at the contracts that are already established, or if there's a punch out. So a punch out that's already, a built in, think of it like Amazon. If you search for the supplier, you go into shop products and let's say, you're looking for, I'm just going to use this supplier as an example. Okay. This is a punch out. Okay. If I click on this punch out, it's going to be like their website. All right. And you can shop for items. And as you can see, all that good data is already here. Okay. The description, the pricing. And once I check out, and it goes on to my requisition, that information is here. I don't need to key in that information. And we know that this information is very crucial to a purchase requisition because the last thing you want to do is order something, receive it, and it's not exactly what you guys need. Okay. So just want to make you guys aware of that. So we're going to come on out here and get back. All right. All right. So now that I've showed you guys all of that, going to quickly hop on over to how to create a change order. Okay. So actually, no, I'm going to show you guys. Yeah, I'm going to show you how to create a change order really quickly. So in order to create a change order, we're going to click on Browse Orders. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and locate my PO. And let's just say I needed to add or take something up. I canceled this. My apologies. Let me see if I can browse an order that I already had established here. Okay. See if I can find something. Okay, no problem. See if I can find me. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go into this one. So this is a catalog order that I've already had in place. And so let's just say I need to initiate a change. So for those of you that may have, used the legacy platform previously before, you were able to create a change order from the requisition. But now that the new existing platform is in place, you'll always want to come to your PO, your purchase order, to create a change order. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and click change order. Okay. So as you can see, it needs a change type. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adjust my existing items that I have on my PO. Okay. And I'm going to put my reason for the update. Okay. As you can see, all of my header information is traveling on over from the previous purchase order. Okay. And I have my line items here. So at this point, if I needed to make any type of changes to the existing lines, I would just simply click on edit. And then in that field where it says quantity, just up your quantity. Okay. So that is exactly how you would initiate a change. It's no different. After you've done what you needed to do, just hit submit for approval, and then that automatically starts the process. So we're going to go ahead and submit, assuming that I've already made my change. All right. As you can see, this is from a approver's view. I can see exactly what's taking place. Okay, you're changing the existing items, updating quantity. I can see those line items here. And I can see the amendment log, okay? So whatever changes that you're looking to make, I'd be able to see it in this field and you can too, okay? Workflow. Again, this is very important because it's going to tell you exactly what's going to happen with this particular purchase requisition and who's going to be approving, okay? So if I need to find out who exactly needs to approve at this point, I can see that within my approval history. And I can also see it from upcoming approvals and ad hoc. Okay, so I'm going to go back, hit approve so we can go ahead and get this on to ordered status. All right, so I now have my change order that's in place. All right, and a field here to point out I feel is very important. It doesn't wipe out your original order. If anything, it's going to give you a trail. So I can see my original order, okay? And I can see my amendment that I now have in place. Okay, so this is replacing this, but you're always going to have a trail. So it doesn't matter if you've made 15 amendments, you'll always be able to see your order amendment history here. Okay, but one thing to remember, if you need to make another change order or a change order at all, you'll always need to come to the latest version to initiate a change order. Okay, all right, so we've covered the change orders really quickly. Just going to take you guys on over to creating a confirming order. Now, the idea with the confirming order is that the order has already taken place. Okay, so this is going to be more so of just having like a trail. All right, so it's no different than creating a purchase requisition. You need to name it. Okay, put in your PO category, put in your procurement transaction type, hit save. Okay, so it's alerting me that I need to add at least one line item. Now, if you need to key it in, you're always going to have that add line item. But if you need to get to the catalog, just simply click on catalog. Okay, so it looks the same, it's just a different process. All right. And one thing to point out with confirming orders, because again, the idea is that the order has already been established. You're just needing to confirm. All right. Some things. So whatever reason why you need to create a confirming order, that's going to be something that you'll need to have ahead of time and discuss within your department, but you do have the option to create a confirming order. Now, if you have not created a purchase requisition, there's nothing existing, and you're starting the process from the very beginning, you have the shop catalog or create requisition. Okay, so two different things. All right. Now, just note that with confirming orders, it's a little bit different when you have your first initial request. Suppliers are notified of a brand new purchase order, but with confirming orders, they do not receive a notification. All right, so make note of that. Confirming orders, no notification. When you're creating a new requisition, they do receive notifications. All right. But even with confirming orders, once you submit that, although the supplier does not receive a notification for it, they can always go into their account as they do with a new purchase order. Okay. They can see the order from inside of their account. It's just that they aren't notified of a confirming order. Okay. So that completes everything. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. And then also, leading into the receivings part of it. Hopefully all of this comes together and makes sense. But again, we will have recordings of this. So if you need to refer back to it. And then we also have our guides and things. So you have tons of resources. So right now, being that we've covered everything, I'm going to take you all to your resources to show you what you have available so that way you can continue with, either practicing or getting acclimated with everything. So if you come to the website and you click on I Buy for Virginia, we're going to go to where it says EVA Buyer Training. Okay. And as you can see, we do have a section where we have some quick reference guides to help you all. So if you're in the P2P area and you're needing to, do a receive and return, or you need to create a non-catalog requisition and you need a reference, we do have some quick steps to help you with that. Okay. So even with catalog, what I've showed you guys today, if you're trying to shop catalog, okay, if you're trying to shop for a punch out, we do have quick reference guides that you can use to help you through that process. Or if you're focusing on a sourcing event, tons of quick reference guides to help you all. Okay. So coming on down to the virtual instructor-led training, we do have catalog builds. So if you want to get more information about the catalog process, we do have a recording here to help you with that. If you're working on a sourcing event and need guidance, We do have our wonderful sourcing lead that shows you that process, even down to contracts. Okay. And so with receiving, so after you've, joined in on today, if you want to see what the receiving process is like, so if you started to receive shipment and you want to kind of be guided through on how to create receipts and all that good stuff, we do have the receiving recorded V.I.L.T here. All right. And today's session has been recorded. So if you need to refer back to the requisitions and orders, you can absolutely do so here. All right. Moving on over, we have the buyer tips. So if you get stuck on something and you just need a quick tip, take a look at the different modules. We do have some great tips out here for you guys. So if it's catalog, we have some catalog tips here, or if it's contracts, or maybe you're in my area, okay, and you want to know how to duplicate an order or find your top vendors or how to cancel an order that's been received on. We have some great tips that are out here for you guys. It's just a matter of you all utilizing your resources, but we do have some things that are in place for you all. All right. One other section that I'd like to point out before we get to where you can go and find UAT is release notes. All right. So we do know that there's a lot of things that have been happening, as far as the system is concerned. So you may be able to find some of what you're looking for. We have it broken down by audience, okay, the summary, and then the description, okay? So what's coming, changes that are going to be implemented. So just want to point that out for you guys, but we have some great information on the website. Now, if you get stuck, let's say you're in the requisitions and orders process, you've exhausted your resources, but you're still, kind of unclear, or you've run into a system issue, please do not hesitate to visit the website and click on Get Help Customer Care. And if you notice here, we do have our buyer assistance request form. Okay. So if you're stuck on something, requisitions and orders, or if it's receiving, we much rather you fill out this form after you've exhausted your resources. And if you're stuck, please fill this form out because we don't want you to get to a point to where you have a whole entire situation, you're deep into the rabbit hole and you can't get out. And then at that point, it's like once you fill the form out, we have our technical team to take a look at it, and then it's a little bit more complex, and then that's where I would come in. But we do have things that are set in place to help you guys. It's just a matter of you, getting to it, taking advantage of it, and getting the help that you need. All right. Last but certainly not least, before we wrap things up, if you want to, get acclimated and want to start testing things out, we do have our UAT training environment where I was doing the demonstration. It's our UAT training. So if you click on UAT training, by our login, if you do have that access, because that needs to be granted, you can actually practice in this environment. You can't break anything, consider it a sandbox. And that is, I would say, the best tool of all that you have available to you all to get, acclimated with everything. All right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. I know I was long-winded, but I like to try to cover as much as I can in that time that we do have. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and try to open things up here.
And just before we get into our Q&A part, I do have two of you that I have no idea who you are because you have random letters and numbers. So I've sent you private messages, UEY and FHX. If you can please let me know before the session ends what your name is so that I can mark your attendance and send you the survey. If not, you will not get credit for attending because I cannot identify you at this point. Megan, I'm going to start with yours. I'm going to go back to the little background part. So Megan says a little background. I place orders and they are sent to approver and then sent to purchasing.
Mhm.
Purchasing uses their P cards to place orders. I'm a requisitioner ordering typical supplies for our department. Can purchasing enter the supplier to use and the commodity codes, etc., once they get the order?
Okay, let me make sure I make sense of everything. Okay, so you place an order, okay, and they're sent to approver and then to purchasing, okay? Their P card, okay. So I'm gonna be careful here because I see what you're asking, but then it's also kind of tying into business process because you've identified who's involved in the purchasing process. Um, that's going to be business process. I would I would definitely talk to someone within your department, or maybe talk with your AE to kind of talk that out. I don't want to get too deep into it because again, I'm showing you more so the clicks and ticks on how to, use the tool. But when we're talking about who should be doing what or who, is designated, I can't really elaborate on that. So I would talk with your department to get clarification. But I mean, if that person enter ins the supplier and the commodity codes beforehand, before the requisition has been fully submitted, absolutely they can. But I'm gonna tread lightly on clarifying on that or weighing in on it, I should say.
All right. And then Tony says, will the commodity codes be the same as we've always used?
Meaning what? Are we talking about? Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Tony, if you want to unmute and explain a little bit, you're more than welcome.
Gotcha. Absolutely.
Let's
So
see.
I mean the commodity codes, as you can see, these are the commodity codes that we've always had. Now, obviously, if there's any shift in the commodity codes, the system and all will be updated, but I would need a little bit more background on that or a little bit more, information or insight onto in your question.
I think she's trying to talk, but I just sent her a message
Okay.
that we can't hear her.
Okay. Yep.
Oh, is that you? While we're waiting for Tony to speak
Okay.
up, is there anyone else that would like to ask any questions that they might have at this time? Oh, she says her mic
Okay.
not must not be working on the computer.
Okay. Gotcha.
Gotcha, Tony. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Let's see. All right. Well, Tony, if you want to send me an email, I can get that question answered, or if you want to email Miranda, we can get that question answered for you. Um, if there are no other questions for Miranda at this time, you're more than welcome to log off of the meeting. If there's something that you need to ask that's not for the good of the group, you can stay back, and we look forward to answering your questions as well.
All
I
right.
want to thank Miranda. She was a great a great presenter, and and we thank you for coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
All right. Kimberly, Tammy, Doris, any other last minute questions? If not, I'm going to close the room. All right, Miranda, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day and have a great weekend.
All right, you too, Jennifer. Thanks so much.
Yep. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.